guys, this is Bluevy back here with another video. And as you can, of course, see, this is going to be a really special video. I'm doing a video with the one, the only Movie Bug.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's great. It's really good to have you. So I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Please go subscribe to him. He posts some amazing content. Quite similar to me, does loads of Blu-ray hunts, movie reviews, Blu-ray hauls, that sort of stuff, loads of other cool videos too. So please do go subscribe to him. So since we're both big Star Wars fans, we are going to be doing a video today of our top 10 Star Wars villains. On MovieBug's channel, we did the top 10 heroes, so kind of a two-part series. So maybe go and watch that one first, or watch this one first, then go to his channel through the description, then go and watch that video too. So first of all, MovieBug, if you want to start off with your number 10, then we'll go me, you, that sort of thing.
Okay, sounds good. Well, my number 10 it's an original. I'm a bit. I don't know if I'd class this one as a villain too much anymore. My number 10 is Boba Fett.
Nice.
Which he is a villain, but then with the recent Mandalorian season, it's like, I don't know. Is he sort of like an anti-hero somewhere in the middle now?
Yeah.
But Boba Fett is. I know some people would have him higher because he's like he's the opposite. He's kind of Han's counter. He's the cool villain. But what I like about Boba is I like him in the Clone Wars when he's a kid, and you see him become really cool. The bounty hunter. You know, when you first see him at the start of the Clone Wars, he's a whiny kid who just wants revenge. By the end of the Clone Wars, he looks like a badass, bounty hunter. And then, of course, in the originals, I never really got the appeal of Boba from the originals because he never really done much. He just looked cool. But now we've had the Mandalorian where he doesn't just look cool. He actually does cool stuff. So, but Boba he's becoming an even better character with everything they release. Like the originals, he looked cool. The Clone Wars gave us a great origin to him. And now the Mandalorian is showing him be that really good character.
And now, of course, we've got the book of Boba Fett coming too. So
exactly.
we've got more to come. And we may even see him in the new series of Mandalorian too. So loads to look forward to.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I'll go on to my number 10. And my number 10 is Grievous, or General Grievous. I think, he's just such a cool looking character. He doesn't necessarily do much in the prequels. He kind of just is the center of a lot of memes. And he fights Obi-Wan, really. Doesn't really do much else. But I think at the start of Revenge of the Sith, I love his encounter, in the Battle of Coruscant with him, and then versus Obi-Wan and Anakin, and of course, Palpatine. I love that. Of course, I love his fight. But the reason I loved Grievous so much is because in Clone Wars, I think he really is actually quite scary in Clone Wars. I think in the prequels, he was a bit kind of, a bit too jokey. But in Clone Wars, there are some scenes where you kind of do appreciate actually how big he really is. And I think at the start of Clone Wars, we see those episodes where we actually go to his lair. And it kind of just shows actually he's actually suffering so much in terms of his parts. I don't know if there's a big origin story behind Grievous. I think he used to be, I can't remember really, but he used to be a human or something. I
think it was a Kali, I think they called them.
Something like that. Of course, his heart and his eyes were put into a droid. So he's gone through a lot of hardship. I'd love to see maybe a real origin thing about that. It may be in live action or animation.
I think this anime show they're doing of Star Wars shorts, I think it'd be awesome just to get an episode there.
I agree. Well, I was talking about that with my dad last week, and that's such an interesting choice. Was that the Star Wars Visions? Is that Visions? The anime thing?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I think it's just random animated episodes from different eras.
I think that's great though. I think I'd love to see some prequel stuff, maybe an episode based on General Grievous, his origins. I would absolutely love that. That is my number 10.
I just want to say this is a great place to see some really good Grievous content. The original Clone Wars.
I need to watch that. I watched one episode as a kid, but I need to watch the old Clone Wars.
He's
I've not seen them.
Really scary in that, and he has a great introduction.
Yeah. One thing, sorry, before I get into your number 9, sorry, I was reading this thing that basically apparently Ahsoka told Anakin when Ahsoka first encountered Grievous how big he was. So the reason Anakin in Revenge of the Sith says you're shorter than I expected is because he expected this huge guy, and in fact he was kind of the same size. But I found that really interesting.
That is really cool. I love the little tines like that in Clone Wars.
Yeah, so do I.
My number 9 is going to be Ventress.
Ventress.
Count Dooku's assassin. Ventress wouldn't have been on this list, to be honest, if it wasn't for what they done with her halfway through Series 3 of Clone Wars. Because, of course, she's just Dooku's assassin at first, and to be honest, she's not very good. She loses every single fight she gets into. And I also found her a bit annoying because I'm a Grievous fanboy. I love Grievous, as you'll see. He appears quite high on my list. And she took time away from Grievous. So I was like, she annoyed me. But then halfway through season 3, you know, Palpatine's like, she's getting a bit too powerful. She could cause us some bother. Let's sack her off.
Yeah.
And what they do with her character is so good. When she goes back to Dathomir and she reunites with her Night Sisters and Mother Talzin, and then her character goes even further to become a bounty hunter. And I know that we're not really talking about novels, but her last story in this book, which was going to be, it says on here somewhere.
Yeah,
it's
Clone Wars episodes.
Yeah, it's based off this was being animated for the back half of Series 6, but never got released. Her final story in this novel with Master Voss is incredible. Like the character development that she gets, oh, it's amazing. You'd love it as a Clone Wars fan. But the character development she gets after Dooku gets rid of her is fantastic.
Yeah,
and she becomes a really good character then. So I'd put Ventress as my number 9.
Nice. So as my number 9 I'm on now. I've got another character in Clone Wars who, like Ventress, wasn't in it loads, but when he was in it, I adored him, and that is Cad Bane. Now, as a kid, I've said as a kid a lot in these videos because loads of it is based on me watching Clone Wars as a kid. He was so badass, and he was so powerful as well. I remember when he actually dueled Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, he was putting up a fight. I mean, of course, in the end, he probably would lose if he did not get away. But yeah, he's an amazing character. I love his voice. I love those episodes when he kind of made a connection with Obi-Wan Kenobi, when Obi-Wan Kenobi had that disguise. I can't remember the names in those episodes. But amazing arc. And yeah, amazing character. I was really debating between him and Hondo, whether to put either of those in this list, but I went with Cad Bane just because he's so badass, and I just really enjoy how fun his character is. And I would have loved to have seen him maybe make a little cameo in the prequels, but of course that didn't happen.
I reckon we'll see him in the Bad Batch, you know.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. I don't think we've got any books about him, or have we got anything about him?
They were animating the episode where he'd die in the Clone Wars. He was going to die at the end of but him and Boba Fett had like a standoff, but because he didn't get finished animated, they don't count it as canon, so he is still out there.
Okay, fair.
I'll say this: my number 8 is also Cad Bane.
Oh, nice.
So he's my favorite bounty hunter. I love Bane. Obviously, I love Boba, and I want to do an honorable mention to Bossk as well. I love Bossk.
Yeah, Bossk is cool.
And also, I would have included Hondo, but I wasn't sure if he would count as a hero.
That's what I was thinking, because I think everyone really loves Hondo. No one dislikes Hondo. I mean,
Hondo's just a cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
But yeah, no, I agree with you on Bane. He hasn't had tremendous amounts of character development, but he's just really cool.
Yeah, that's the best description.
Yeah, he's really strong. He's got a cool voice. He's got a cool hat. He's an alien. He's got amazing little jetpacks on his feet. It's like the guy is just cool, and he actually succeeds most of the time, because a lot of these villains don't. Like Grievous and Ventress, they normally fail. Bane, I remember at the end of season 1 where he manages to get Zero the Hutt out of prison and hold all of the senators captive. It's like, what do you know? A villain that's actually succeeded in Star Wars. Yeah.
I think it was one thing that I found quite funny when he actually took his hat off. He lost like 99% of his coolness. He didn't look cool, but as soon as he put his hats on, he is just so guy. Cool. Yeah, a big ball of blue. But he's great. He's amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, my number 8 is also Cad Bane.
So yeah, okay, my number 8, am I on now, is Tarkin. Now, I just love. As a kid, I didn't really have a big connection with Tarkin because he wasn't cool, he wasn't fun. But when I was growing up, you realise how amazing his character is. For example, he's got no powers. I don't think I once saw him holding a gun. Of course, he's not force sensitive at all. Yet whenever he's in the room, he is so powerful. He is a big presence, even over Darth Vader, the most powerful being in the galaxy. And he can talk crap to Darth Vader, and Darth Vader knows you can't just force choke Tarkin like he force choked loads of the Imperial officers. But yeah, amazing character. Peter Cushing played him perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I also do love that we see him in Clone Wars. We see how him and Anakin, when they were kind of bonding over their similar ideals, of course, that was foreshadowing of them working quite closely together. Then we saw him in Rebels quite briefly. He didn't do anything interesting, but still cool to see him. And of course, we saw him in the Bad Batch trailer. So that will be really nice to see what he does there. But yeah, amazing character. So strong. I've kind of got another similar character up in my list. I think you can probably predict who that will be. But yeah, I do love Tarkin.
Well, my number 7's Tarkin. So
oh god,
we've had two back to back. Yeah, I've always really enjoyed characters that are really old and stern and powerful. Like my favorite character in Game of Thrones is Tywin Lannister. I love those kind of old, really straight, evil people, and that's what Tarkin is. He doesn't have any powers, but the reason he's so powerful is because he's so smart and he's so strict. And again, I'm just adding to, but you basically covered everything, so I'm just sort of agreeing basically with everything you've said, because he's a great character. He really is. And
he is.
Like you say, Peter Cushing played it fantastically as well. Great character.
I think I forgot to touch upon, him in Rogue One as well. I loved how we saw he took credit for Krennic's work, and it just again outlines just how cold his character is. But again, it just shows that he knows what he has to do to make his way in the Empire, and it just shows how corrupt and horrible the Empire really is.
I'd really recommend reading the actual Tarkin novel or the Catalyst one, because you get to see a lot more of Tarkin in those two books, and it's really good.
I'm definitely Catalyst and Dark Disciples are the two I'm very eager to read, and I have ordered them. So should we go on to, is it my number 7 now?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, my number 7 is a character from The Mandalorian. Sure, you guys know who it is. It is Moff Gideon. Again, after season 1, just like The Mandalorian in my list we did on your channel, after season 1, he would not have been anywhere near this list. But in season 2, his character, and of course, this has been planned by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and all the team behind The Mandalorian. His character just developed so much. Seeing him duel the Mandalorian with the Darksaber, just the way he speaks, just like Tarkin, he's got this presence that is so unique. It acted so well. An amazing character. He looks amazing, and in the Mandalorian finale, I loved him. He just everything right, and he's a villain that I really liked. He wasn't OP. He wasn't ridiculous. He wasn't like a ridiculous villain. He wasn't moany. He wasn't whiny. He just has a straight set of morals. He's not always, bickering between what to do. He knows what he has to do in the Empire, and amazing character. I just loved him in season 2 so much.
Yeah. I think Giancarlo Esposito, I think is his name, the guy who plays him. Yeah. He, such a good actor. I love that actor.
I also loved him in The Boys, in Breaking Bad. Yeah. He's just an amazing actor. Yeah. So good.
No, he really is. He's good. I'd honestly say he's one of my favourite actors going at the minute. He's fantastic.
Oh yeah. If he keeps on doing what he's doing now, he's definitely going to make his way there.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He hasn't made my list, but I can completely see why he would have made. He's a fantastic villain. My number 6 is General Grievous, who I'm a big fan of.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I kind of, I grew up with the prequels, and Revenge was like the first one I saw in the cinema. And as a kid, you see this giant, 7-foot robot come out with 4 arms, 4 lightsabers with a cool voice and a badass cape. It's like, yep, I'm all about that. And then, of course, Clone Wars developed him so well. And I think this one is a bit of, like you were saying earlier with some other characters. It's like he's nostalgia. That's what he is for me. This one takes me back to my childhood, and I love Grievous. I think he's a really cool character. He's just a really fun character. Whenever he's on screen, I definitely agree.
I definitely so much fun.
Yeah.
So should I go on to my number 6? My number 6 is Boba Fett. Like you, when I was writing this, I wasn't actually, just like you, just wasn't sure whether to put him as a villain anymore. But I guess he is a villain. He's just a very honourable villain, which I do love. But I just love Boba Fett so much. Again, like you again, in the originals, he was a bit underwhelming, but how he's been elaborated on in the Clone Wars, of course, he went from this kind of moany little boy to actually this quite scary man. And then, of course, in The Mandalorian, if the Mandalorian season 2 didn't happen, he would be nowhere near this list. But because of that, because of what we saw, I mean, that episode when I think maybe it was episode 6, when he just destroyed that squadron of stormtroopers. I mean, it was just so beautiful to watch and an amazing stuff. And I loved it. And his armor, I actually do love his new armor. I know a lot of people prefer his sort of the really the one that's
like
all damaged,
kind of.
beat up. Yeah, but I do like the look of his new clean armor. I think it looks really good. And it's logical. You're not going to keep armor if you're one of the best bounty hunters in the world. That's all beat up and looks terrible. But yeah, amazing character. Absolutely love him.
Yeah, no, I can't argue it. He is a great character.
Yeah, he is.
My number 5, I think, is the most underrated Star Wars villain.
Yeah.
Count Dooku, or Darth Tyrannus.
What a villain.
Oh god, I can't lie. The main reason he's made this list, and again, I know we said we were just going to do movies and shows, but I have to mention this book because this is what has made me love Dooku.
I just need to read all of these. I need to read it.
Backstory is phenomenal. It's so good, but in the movies itself, you know, Christopher Lee plays him so well, and he kind of has that Tarkin of the he's the Tarkin of the prequels, where he's at the top of his game. He's this strict older guy who, even if he didn't have any powers or anything, he would be in control of everything no matter what. And I mean, he's also one of the most powerful people in the galaxy. He's so powerful. He's so incredibly underrated in terms of how powerful he is. I mean, he was trained by Yoda for a start. He takes on Obi-Wan and Anakin together. He survives Yoda, Anakin and Obi-Wan. He survives all of them. He's maybe the best duelist in Star Wars.
And watching him duel is beautiful too.
So he does it like he's fencing. He's got one hand behind his back. I love it. Yeah. He's got the coolest lightsaber, because I think I told you that I ordered one of those saber forged lightsabers, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I've ordered Dooku's because I love it. It's so good.
Oh, it's so cool.
And in the Clone Wars, his character is so well developed. He survived duels with nearly every Jedi. Darth Maul. He's fought so many people. It's incredible. But
yeah, I agree, definitely. So my number 5 is actually not Count Dooku. I'll talk about Count Dooku later. My number 5 is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, I'm sure this will change once I've read that trilogy of books. I need to read those so bad, but it's incredible. Just off his stuff in Rebels, he's sorry.
That's fair.
Sorry, I'll restart this. So my number 5 is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, I need to read the trilogy of books. I know you said to me they're amazing.
Yeah.
But his stuff in Rebels, it's so good to watch. And he's one of the reasons I adored Rebels, was because I love whenever he appeared, that lovely organ would play, and he'd have his it was Mickelson who voiced him. Can't remember his first name. I can't remember his first name, but yeah.
Yeah, he was in Sherlock, weren't he, the actor?
But an amazing voice. I loved his presence. I loved how he really just analyzes the enemy. He knows everything about the enemy, rather than just like, for example, one of the First Order officers or General Hux just going in without knowing nothing. He analyzed the enemy. He knew everything about them. You know, when he was confronting Sabine, he knew everything about her. Or maybe confronting Hera, he just knew everything about them, and it was just so intimidating. It was so good to watch. His character also just looks amazing, so unique with that blue face and the red eyes. Really scary stuff, and I adored it, and I cannot wait to read that trilogy of books.
Yeah. No, the books are amazing. They'll make you... He'll probably jump up a couple places on your list, I think.
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'll definitely be speaking about Thrawn in a minute. But my number 4 is Palpatine.
Fair enough.
So I he's for me the definition of evil in Star Wars, because even though, like, obviously I've got villains which are above him, all of these other villains, they're not as evil as this. He just defines evil. He's the bad guy. From the moment we first see him in Phantom Menace, all the way through to his death in Return of the Jedi. because that's where he died. But Ian McDiarmid, man, that guy played him so well. His voice is fantastic. And I think it's really clever what they done with him in the prequels. George Lucas could have just had him come in at the end or something. I love the fact that he manipulated the whole galaxy, with this war so that it would eventually make the Empire. I think it's really clever.
It's so clever.
And I love the fact that he just used everyone. Maul, Dooku, the Senate. The Jedi were completely clueless because he'd done it all so well. He's a really clever villain. And when he actually becomes the Emperor, you kind of just feel like, oh, this guy is the top guy, because he's just sitting on his throne. He has to do no work. He's got all these other people like Tarkin, Vader, the Inquisitors, Thrawn. He's got them all doing all his work for him. Just a really, really clever character. So
yeah, amazing. Yeah, again, I'll talk more about Palpatine later. I think everyone loves Palpatine. Who doesn't? Yeah. My number 4, Count Dooku. It basically just everything you said embodies my opinion on him. He is so cool to watch, and I do love him in the Clone Wars too. I love what they do with his character. And sometimes you do kind of not agree with the stuff he says, but the stuff he says are kind of logical about the order, and about the Republic, and how the Republic is far from perfect. I'm not going to say the Separatists is the good side, but the Republic is far from perfect. Christopher Lee, like you said, played him perfectly, and I actually thought for the most part his dialogue in the prequels was actually really, really good. I didn't have any really flaws with the dialogue with him. And the one thing I love is actually on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones, when he literally tells Obi-Wan that the Sith are inside the temple. And Obi-Wan just doesn't listen, of course, because the Jedi are very ignorant and very they kind of just don't listen. And of course, that is the reason that they essentially got wiped out, is because they were so ignorant. They completely denied that there could be maybe a Sith around them, and of course that came to bite them because they were all essentially killed. So amazing character. I loved him, and I loved his duel with Anakin and Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith, because of course the opening is probably my favorite Star Wars opening in a movie ever, with the music and the Jedi Interceptors, amazing stuff. But I love Count Dooku, so amazing. I just love how he puts his hand behind his back when he's fighting. It shows just how powerful he really is.
I love what you said as well, like how the Clone Wars shows, it makes like Dooku and the Separatists, it shows you their point of view, and you go,
of course,
they're not just mindless villains. They're not just like Hux screaming, "Oh, this is the day, the New Republic, whatever." It's like there's actual reasons as to why these villains are doing stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
My number 3 though is going to be Thrawn, which of course you've already touched upon. Yeah, I mean, again, just added to what you said, I think the reason I love Thrawn is because he's probably the hardest Star Wars villain to beat, because he always comes in more prepared than anyone else. He's the best tactician in Star Wars. To beat him, you need to pull some weird stuff out to just surprise him, catch him off guard, because he's so clever. And again, even though he's in the Empire and he works for the Emperor, again, this is from the novels, but I love the fact that he has his own agenda as well. He is his own villain. He has his own plans. And he can go into a room with a bunch of people who are far superior to him in terms of rank. Like in the first Thor book, second Thor book, he's against Vader in a lot of it. And obviously Vader is vastly outranking him at this point. He doesn't care. If Vader says something stupid, he'll let Vader know. And he's such a good character like that. And Thrawn is so incredible, and I urge anyone out there who's just watched the movies to go watch Rebels to see him. And then if you love him as much as you probably should, because he's an amazing character, go read the novels. He's incredible. Yeah, like Timothy Zahn, who created him, done an incredible job for him.
Yeah. So I definitely agree with you. And once I read the books, I'm sure he'll be my number 3. So my number 3 is Palpatine, Sheev, whatever you want to call him. Just the embodiment of pure evil. And again, I love what you said about what George Lucas did with him in the prequels. He didn't just come in at the end and become the Emperor out of nothing. His character was so deceptive. He literally, like you said, used literally everyone he talked to. He was using. He didn't. He literally had no friends. I know it sounds like a playground thing, but he literally had no friends. Everyone he talked to, he was using them to get more powerful, powerful. He orchestrated the whole Clone Wars thing, and in the end, he became the Emperor. and died in Return of the Jedi. And like you said, that is when he died, and he didn't come back. Definitely not.
No. There's some fan film out there, I think, where they said he'd come back, but
yeah, that was made by someone who doesn't really know anything about Star Wars.
No. Yeah. No, Palpatine's a good one, that's for sure. I'll go on to my number 2 then. My number 2 is a villain which wouldn't have been here after his first appearance.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
I think our last 2 are going to be exactly the same, by the way.
I think they are. We could just talk about them together then if you want.
Yeah, that's what I think we should do, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he looks cool in The Phantom Menace and his fight's cool, but he is just a plank of wood for the heroes to get through.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars, my God, did they develop the hell out of this character. Like, you could tell why he's angry. And every bit of dialogue delivered by Sam Witwer is, you can tell that this guy is angry. He's got such a cool voice. And you can tell that his rage is not only what pushes this character to keep doing the things he's doing, but it also makes him fail every single time. And his final episodes with Ahsoka and Clone Wars was fantastic. Rebels, my God, when he appeared in that, he stole every bit of screen time. And that little cameo at the end of Solo was the highlight of Solo for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Maul's just, he is for me a character which started off with very little and now is just one of the best Star Wars characters in general, not just villains.
I mean, yeah, he's my number 2 too, and I definitely agree with everything you said there. He is just so cool. And yeah, if you're going off of Phantom Menace, he looks cool and everything. He's a great fight. We don't really get to know his character, but in Clone Wars and quite briefly in Rebel Wars, we really know the struggles he went through. And like you said, he literally fails every single time in whatever he has to do. But I just love how, Palpatine used him completely. Then he goes to the Savage Opress, and Palpatine takes that away from him. And it's kind of just Palpatine taking stuff away from him, really. Yeah. But yeah, he's an amazing character, and he was fleshed out so much. I'm so happy they did that because he quickly became a fan favorite, and I would love to see him maybe again in live action down the road because I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, he's a character that I just feel sorry for as well. Like by the end, he's lost everything by the end. Yeah. If I was him, I'd be evil as well. I'd be so fed up with everything.
Same as Anakin. Everything went against him. Literally everything. And I think that leads us into both our number 1s.
Yeah.
And that's the only Darth Vader. Yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about him quickly?
Well, I mean, just from his very first, because I mean, the thing you have to look at is his very first appearance was, of course, in A New Hope, and man, this villain was incredible. Even though he could show no emotion because he's wearing a mask. That's how it goes for all the original 3. I know he takes it off right at the end of Return, but at that point he's Anakin again. But Vader, he's got a mask on the whole time. Yeah, to get this amount of character out of a character who's wearing a mask is fantastic, I think.
Yeah, amazing. It is.
Every time he's on screen, and he always, Star Wars knows now how beloved he is, so they do this on purpose, but he always has the coolest entrances, whether it's in Rogue One, Rebels, End of Clone Wars, Fallen Order. He always has the coolest entrances.
Yeah, he does. And they've handled that really well, Disney. I think they did him amazingly in Rogue One. I mean, Rogue One, that hallway scene is always going to be one of the best scenes ever in Star Wars, just because it was such a simple scene, but it's so well done with his lightsaber coming out and just slaughtering some rebels. I mean, it sounds quite horrible, but we kind of all wanted to see that at one point, and we saw it perfectly there. And I think also you have to touch on him being. You have to look at Anakin as well, and that's why he's an interesting character. Because I think if he was just pure villain, he wouldn't be as good. But we actually had to take into account that he was originally, the most faithful Jedi ever. Then he turned into the most evil Sith, and of course he redeemed himself. But yeah, just an amazing character, amazing character.
I actually think my favorite Vader scene, surprisingly, is the one in Rebels where he fights Ahsoka.
Oh, it's just amazing.
Every bit of dialogue in that. And the music is perfect.
God. I mean, you can give Rebels all the slack and you can say it's a kid's show, but that is some of the best Star Wars we've ever had. Yeah. Ever. I mean, I definitely agree.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Rebels is the first season you had the Granny Inquisitor, who was really cool. How'd you top him? Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah.
But Vader is not only my favorite Star Wars villain, I'd say he's my favorite villain of all time, period.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to wrap up our ranking of top 10 villains. Again, we did the top 10 heroes on MovieBug's channel. So kind of like a series of 2 videos. So go watch that one, then watch this, or vice versa. 2 really cool videos. And maybe, guys, leave your comments down below of your top 10 Star Wars villains. And then on MovieBugs, leave your top 10 heroes in his comments too. But yeah, it's been really fun doing this. I hope you've enjoyed watching. And I'm really enjoyed talking to you about Star Wars, of course. We're both Star Wars nuts, so I hope you enjoyed it anyway, MovieBug.
Oh, yes, very good time.
Yeah, it was great. And with some great characters in there. And it's great to see that there's kind of a theme here that these characters are really the fan favorites because, I mean, some of the characters were both in our list, like Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Thrawn, Dooku,
Yeah.
And it is quite sad that there's not too many Disney characters in there, but I think with these new series they're coming out with, and
we're getting there.
I'm sure there's going to be soon. There are going to be some really strong Disney characters that we're all going to love, and I think that will be the case.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's like you say with the shows. I think we're getting there. Unfortunately, I don't think there'll be many from the sequels, but I think the ones that they're developing in the shows, we're 100% going to get there.
Yeah, we will. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like or subscribe. Go do the same for MovieBug's video too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you as usual in the next video.
Bye-bye.
Perfect.
Lovely.